Hello, I'm Brian Hurd, a lawyer who practices in elder law, that is law relating to older people and their families. This video is about, can you still live alone? You know, I'm 67 and my parents are in their early 90s. I remember when they were in their 60s. They're not the same people in their 90s. This frailty that we experience as we get older and the reliance that we build up on other people is an inevitable fact of life. Accepting that fact of life is the most important thing that older people can do. Are you prepared, for example, to accept and admit that you need help? Do you have some insight into it? Are you prepared to talk about it? Do you want to raise it? Take the initiative and raise it with your family. That can be very important. What about preparing for change? Because if living alone is becoming too difficult, what that means is you need help or support to do so. Are you ready for the change that that will bring? Because if you're not, then what inevitably will happen, as I've seen from 30 years of experience, is that you will create a crisis where your desire to live alone and to ignore support or help that you may need will lead to an inevitable crisis. And that will impact on your family, it will impact on your health and your wealth even, if you're not prepared to accept it. So having insight into your circumstances can be really important to maintain at least a modicum of health and happiness. So what are your options? If you need help or support, well, you can, for example, stay where you are and tough it out, as it were, and wait for the crisis to happen. I don't recommend that. Or, for example, you can get home care. The difficulty with home care, of course, is that there's a limit to how much home care you can get. And if you want to pay for it, 24 hours, 7 days a week home care, it'll cost you about $6,000 a week. So the alternative is a retirement village with maybe supported living. Or there is the new development that's been happening for the last few years of family caring for parents. Now this is a new development in many ways because most older people start to realise that they would prefer either to stay in their own home or at least to be around people that they know and trust. And those people generally are members of their family. So in the last 5 or 6 years, which has now been exacerbated by COVID-19, families are choosing to provide care within the family. So for example, an elderly parent is moving in with one of their children, or one of their children is moving in with their elderly parent. Now that sounds simple in concept, but an arrangement like this family arrangement, can come undone quite dramatically if it's not approached properly. Don't have, for example, a discussion with your daughter or son one Saturday morning over a cup of tea when they suggest to you should move in with them tomorrow. What you need to do is think about the implications of that proposal, the what-ifs of that proposal. What if, for example, you do move in and the relationship falls apart very quickly, as it often does? Those what-if discussions can be very important instead of simply jumping in and saying, yes, I'll move in tomorrow. Because I've seen the downside, the consequences of people not addressing and discussing these issues up front before they commit themselves. And committing yourself not only addresses the what-ifs, but also to avoid those oral arrangements. In other words, it's absolutely crucial that you document any arrangement moving in with your children or your children moving in with you. If you don't document it, you won't know, for example, how to react when things happen. For example, if the agreement breaks down, what does the agreement say? If you haven't documented it, then you don't know what you can do or what you're able to do. So documenting it sets out in clear agenda form what the relationship is like and how it will proceed and how in fact it could end. Because there are two types of older people. There are non-pensioner older people and pensioner older people. For these non-pensioner older people, the self-funded retiree, we do what's called family agreements. Documented family arrangements for caring. For pensioner couples or pensioner singles, we do what's called granny flat agreements. The implications of these are significant, both in terms of the document, what they say, the financial implications and the Centrelink implications. So the advice to you, if family care is what you want or think you need, is to think about the what-ifs, get some good legal and financial advice, and only commit yourself when you have a clear understanding of what it means to move in with any of your children. It's your happiness that we're talking about.